Hello, and welcome to the Gamers Reality Podcast, based off the 𝑣𝒓𝒐𝒔 website and 𝒓𝒂𝒔 Gamers Reality YouTube channel. We're here to talk about all things gaming. I am your host, 𝒓𝒂𝒔𝒉. Hey everyone, and welcome to another Gamers Reality Podcast episode. This is episode 8, and we're here to talk about some games. I'm actually using a brand new microphone. It's noticeably better than the other one, so I'm excited to see how this episode turns out with this new awesome microphone. We're going to be talking about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Pokemon Let's Go, Destiny 2, Dragon Ball Legends, Diablo Immortal, and the subtle, nuanced relationship between developers, games, and gamers. First up, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The November 1st Nintendo Direct was amazing, jam-packed with 40 minutes of Smash Bros. Ultimate news. Everybody wanted to know, were the Smash Grinch leaks fake or real? Now, the story behind it was that a popular Redditor who confirms or predicts these leaks is usually accurate. It started with a Snapchat picture of the mural for the game, and players could see Shadow, Geno, Banjo-Kazooie, Isaac, Ken, Mach Rider, and Chorus Kids. As you probably already know by now, those leaks were fake, and a very convincing fake. Pretty sure the person was trolling and enjoys it. Isaac and Shadow turned out to be assist trophies, and Ken was the only confirmed fighter from the fake information. Incineroar was announced as a fighter, and he looks pretty fun to play as. After he attacks, he makes all these poses and is like, yeah, look at me, look at what I just did. From his moves, he seems like he's going to be a strong fighter. And they confirm that these are all the revealed characters. So there's 74 fighters on the roster. And of course one more we'll eventually get to. Just take a moment to realize how crazy it is for any game or any fighter game to have over 74 characters to play as. That's insane. There's never been anything like this before in a video game. Instead of collectible trophies, they announced spirits. So the spirit mode that was deciphered early on turned out to be true and accurate. There are hundreds of spirits, and they can enhance a fighter's powers. Spirit rankings go from novice and advanced up to ace and legend. Each fighter can have one primary spirit. Then you can assign support spirits to that primary spirit based on how many slots the primary spirit has. Some abilities on a few spirits include Fire Flower Equipped from 𝒐𝒂𝒔𝒉, Strong Throw from Cappy, Auto Heal from Elise, Made of Metal from Slippy. You acquire spirits from winning spirit battles through the spirit board. You can look at the conditions of the battle to plan how you'll fight. For example, the opponent might be invisible or tend to grab items. Then you hit the puppet fighter to acquire the spirit. Some of these puppet fighters are shielded or have some shield, so you have to damage the shield then battle the fighter again, and the fighter will be less shielded the next time around. If you can, try not to hit the shield so you can get the spirit on the first try. Spirits also have types. Attack is effective against grab, grab is strong against shield, and shield is strong against attack. An easy way to think of this is like Pokemon starters. Attack is red, grab is green, and shield is blue. Fire beats grass, grass beats water, and water beats fire. So that's an easy way to remember it. Primary spirits level up after battle, and you can feed them snacks to level them up. Spirits also can evolve after you level them up to a certain point. You can send spirits back to the real world and keep their core. Then you can use these cores to summon new spirits. Spirits also level up through dojos in the gym. You can also send them off to search for treasure to acquire for you while you go do something else. Certain spirits are masters, and if you beat them, you unlock new facilities. Spirits can also power up amiibos. If the spirits are stronger than you can receive even more rewards. You can fight other players who have spirits equipped too. So, there are these crazy hardcore meta RPG mechanics with the spirits in Smash Bros. Ultimate. It had me laughing with how detailed it is. When I first heard it, it was like, you have these spirits, you can level them up, feed them, train them, attach spirits to other spirits, and all these spirits buff your character. There's type advantages, certain spirits can evolve. I'm just like, dude. But it's awesome that they have something like this in the game. They also announced local and online play, of course, and you have a ranking called Global Smash Power. If your GSP is high enough, you unlock Elite Battles, which is highly competitive Smash. If you win, you acquire a copy of that player's Smash tag, and if you lose, they get to have a copy of your Smash tag. You never really lose your Smash tag. You just give your opponent a copy of it if you lose and vice versa. They're also making a service called Smash World, where players can post videos and everyone can watch them. You can also save your replay battles and create videos. There's a menu where you can read tips on fighters, items, stages, and more. You use acquired gold to buy music tracks, spirits, and more. They revealed the Fighter's Pass, which contains 5 unannounced fighters, stages, and music tracks. Can you believe they even have more content to stuff into this game? It's great how much content this game has. That's how you make a great game. Fill it with tons of content and value for the players. The sets will be released after February 2020. You heard that right, not 2019, it'll be 2020. So it may take some time for the full first DLC to be released. Of course, Nintendo will be supporting the Smash game for a long time. The Fighter's Pass will cost an estimated $24.99, and if you want to purchase each pack separately, it will cost about $5.99. Here's hoping one of the characters will be Geno or Banjo and Kazooie, but Nintendo did say they already know the lineup for the DLC fighters. It's going to be exciting and interesting to see who they pick. They showed a sneak peek at a fighter you can get for free if you pre-purchase or get the game by January 31st of 2019. You have to redeem your physical game for gold Nintendo coins to get it. I know this is sometimes a step that can be forgotten or ignored if you get the physical game, so just make sure you redeem your physical copy for gold points on My Nintendo. I know everyone is just going to want to play the game when it comes out and completely forget or forgo that step. And that fighter is none other than Piranha Plant. Yep, we got a plant, the most unexpected character imaginable. I love how PO'd Mario looks in that intro scene. To be fair, he looks like a fun character to play as. His movements seem a little unexpected, so predicting that character's movements is going to be different compared to other fighters. Piranha Plant also has this one attack where he can extend a ridiculous range across the stage, so one move gives him crazy long range. They showcased the beginning World of Light cinematic for the Spirit mode, where it shows Fox on the cliff saying, "Don't let a single one get away," and the camera pans out to show all the Smash characters huddled on a cliff together ready to fight. So many amazing memes came from this one scene. I'll talk about the memes shortly, but first we have to talk about this amazing cinematic. The camera pans to the sky and shows hundreds of Master Hands and this weird light creature. This light creature turns all the Master Hands into lights and uses that light to take all the characters. Shulk sees the future where everyone gets taken, and he looks back at all the characters. I'm not sure what good seeing a few seconds into the future can do if you can't do anything about it. It would have made more sense if he made a sacrifice for Kirby or saw Kirby getting away or something. So once this light is attacking and going for all the characters, they try to fight back, but any moves against it and any defenses are impossible to stop it from possessing, claiming, taking, trapping, killing, or whatever you want to call it, all the characters. Even Sonic was too slow to get away from it. Sonic even reaches out his hand to Pikachu, because Pikachu is right behind him and not fast enough to escape. Pikachu gets taken, then Sonic shortly after gets taken. There was some seriousness and humor in the scene. Snake was hiding in his box and the Wii Fit trainer was still doing yoga before being captured. All the characters were basically doing what they do best or doing something that's really a part of them before being captured. After all the characters are taken, the camera pans out to show Kirby trying to escape on his warp star. Kirby is looking very serious and he looks like he's trying very hard, trying to outfly all this lights. He's the last one and it's all up to him to try and escape. When the light starts surrounding him and it seems like he's about to be taken too, his warp star warps him out of the area and saves him. The camera pans out and shows all this light taking over the rest of the planet and even extending out to the whole universe. The camera shows a few characters in this desolate land in spirit form, trapped as nothing in this weird, seemingly afterlife limbo. Then you see Kirby flying downward with his warp star and crashing into the ground. And the theme for Smash Bros. Ultimate called Lifelight plays, and it has lyrics. I'm pretty certain this is the first Smash theme song that has actual lyrics. And if you listen to this song, it sounds so amazingly beautiful. This singer has one of those unique voices that's perfect for this song. Her voice is so light, pun intended, and she sings so effortlessly. It's like her voice gives this message, "Oh, I do this all the time, this is nothing." Her voice is like a goddess. I'm talking about the English version, obviously, because that's the language I speak and understand. I tried to find the name of the singer, scouring through plenty of links, but all there seems to be right now are guesses on who sings the song, which is kind of weird that there's not an artist associated with it. I guess we have to wait for the Smash credits to find out who sings the song. This song is so beautiful, combining a unique voice, lyrics, instruments, and gameplay. It's a masterpiece song that just seems like it came from out of nowhere. The kind of music we don't have on the radio, but really should. The gameplay shows the old-style, watercolored-like looking RPG map. The best way to describe it is either a watercolored Mario Party board or the overworld map in Cuphead. And when the camera pans out and shows this map, it's freaking huge. I mean, it's enormous. Either they jam-packed this mode with content, or each part of the map has only 1 or 2 places in each area, but I'm pretty certain it's the former. We're about a month away from Smash. Everyone is super excited. Might try to play the demo at a Best Buy store before it comes out. I think Best Buy stores are supposed to have the demo for it now. I wonder if they have a Pokemon Let's Go demo. I guess I'll have to find out. I put some thought into why only Kirby was the one to survive, besides the creator Sakurai being the creator of Kirby and Smash, obviously. And it does make sense. Kirby is small and nimble and fast enough with the Warp Star to avoid the light chasing him and warp out of the area. Falco's ship, to give an example of another flying transportation device that could have helped him escape, didn't get enough speed and was too big. Sonic, who was pretty fast to begin with, was just too slow. Guess all that mocking for being too slow finally got back to bite him. So we talked about a lot of the obvious, but I want to talk about some things about this that not a lot of people or gaming news outlets mentioned. I know there's value in these gaming podcasts because besides being such a hardcore gamer and being deep into all the gaming information and news, I make sure I talk about the games and news in a different way or talk about topics that a lot of other podcasts or gaming news outlets may not mention. I also make sure I take out a lot of the filler of side talk with editing and writing a script first. I was surprised that no one mentioned how emotional the World of Light cinematic was. When I first watched it, I felt myself getting emotional and tears welling up in my eyes. I was thinking, what's wrong with me? I must be having an off day or something. Yet when I watched the trailer a second and third time, the same thing happened. I looked in the comments section of the videos on YouTube, and there was mention of a lot of others saying they cried or got emotional from the cinematic. I thought about the reasons why it would make some people emotional. For one, I'm a hypersensitive introvert, so I'm really sensitive to certain stimuli or moved by things a bit more than others who aren't sensitive to stimuli. A lot of us have been with Smash since the first game, and we've played hundreds of games with all these characters, and seeing all these characters being helpless to fight back, and only having the choice to run, and not even that being enough, makes people emotional. Then there was only Kirby left, fleeing from the light, and it was all up to Kirby to escape. His serious facial expression while riding the Warp Star that kept ticking faster and faster and barely escaping by warping just in time was another layer added onto that. Then yet another layer was seeing the universe being taken by this light, and then Kirby falling on his Warp Star out of the sky in this desolate wasteland all alone, in combination with this beautiful Lifelight song, was just another layer of emotion. A good reference to use to compare this with is Toy Story 3, an animated show where a lot of people cried when the toys were holding hands before their imminent death. Spoiler alert, they didn't die. With the World of Light Smash cinematic, it's an animated cinematic where everyone's favorite characters who players have so many years of history with from playing so many of these games have no choice but to flee and can't fight back, yet they're all killed and only Kirby was able to escape. So Nintendo did a great job with the cinematic. Of course, they could have done better by maybe showing more characters talking or more characters being taken. For example, they didn't show characters like Mario or Fox or Yoshi or Donkey Kong being taken. I think they didn't show Mario because that's their mascot and they don't want to show him in a bad light being taken, or they didn't want to spend all that extra animation time to show every single one of these characters being taken because this roster is huge. Now, there are people who reacted to people who cried and be like, it's just a game, I didn't cry. But there's plenty of people who said they were emotional or cried or were on the verge of tears. And it's like, how could you be that cold-hearted and not be emotional about it? So, Nintendo did an amazing job with this World of Light cinematic. To make plenty of people emotional off a game cinematic of a game that's not even out yet is impressive. So if you did get emotional from watching it, don't worry, there's nothing wrong with you. Plenty of other people did too. And if you didn't get emotional from it, everyone has different levels of emotion and emotional investment in these characters. So if you didn't, that's okay too. Everyone isn't going to react to something the same way emotionally. Another thing I wanted to mention is the memes. Oh my gosh, there were so many memes that came from this one cinematic. and they're so funny. I actually have a video of a collection of some of the best memes that came from this on the website 𝑔𝒓𝒒𝒐𝒔.com and on the 𝒓𝒔𝒔 YouTube channel. I also made some of my own memes, which you can find there as well. To explain the meme, the main one centers around the light taking people. There are memes that this is basically like Infinity War, one showing Thanos snapping his fingers along with the Switch logo and sound effect, then all the characters being chased and killed by the light. There are memes where they combine different universes and franchises like SpongeBob or Dragon Ball Z, and since Smash Bros. Ultimate is the biggest crossover in history, it's pretty fitting. One SpongeBob one is in the Senior Citizen Center, and the character opens the windows and says, "Alright seniors, let's open these windows so the world can see your nice white clothes." Then the light comes in and obliterates them all. Or one where Tom Nook is watching the cinematic on his laptop in his dark room, then he suddenly gets blasted by the lights. Or one where Vegeta is using his final flash and takes out Snake on the cliff. Or using a cinematic from Halo 2, one where Master Chief is outrunning the supposed light that's chasing him. Or ones where Shulk has a vision and it's something completely unrelated or stupid. I also made one where Falco was escaping in his ship, then I had Peppy come in and say, "Do a barrel roll." I also made one where the Traveler from Destiny is using its light to defeat Gaul, then all of a sudden the light chases all the Smash characters. These memes are too great to describe. You gotta look them up yourself and see them, because if you like Smash and memes, they are hilarious. Either search Smash Bros. Ultimate memes or Smash World of Light memes, or just go to gamers-reality.com, because I have them all in video form there. Speaking of Kirby Star Allies will have an update by the end of November, introducing some more characters and levels. It's a good and fun game, even though it can be hectic with so much going on the screen, but I guess you can say the same thing about Smash. I went back and replayed some Smash for the 3DS, and I decided to do something I've never done, play as every single character at least once, just to understand their general playstyle and prepare myself for Smash Bros. Ultimate, and to see what other characters I would enjoy playing as besides Mario. Mario always has been my main, and he has a very balanced playstyle, where if you are skilled with him, at least in my experience, you can definitely win against most of the characters. The only trouble I can really recall is maybe versing Sword Fighters or Bayonetta with Mario. Other characters I'll enjoy playing as will be Link, Kirby, the Pokemon characters, possibly Donkey Kong, Sonic, Ness, and Lucas, and maybe a few more. A lot of these characters are pretty awesome in their own way. Now that I finally played as these characters, I know how to better counter them and know what their movements are like. And I discovered more gameplay value, because I usually only played Smash with one or two characters when I was younger. So it's time to get good with some other characters. Moving on briefly to Pokemon Let's Go. It comes out November 16th, so we are a mere week away from its release. A recent trailer showed that trainers Red, Blue, and Green will all be in the game to battle. That's exciting, and those battles are going to be fun. Every time I hear the music from the gameplay or trailers, I'm just overtaken by nostalgia, and just feel so happy, because the music is so much more beautiful and in a higher quality since it's on the Switch versus the DS. It's like, how can you not feel happy inside or have a smile on your face while playing or watching this game if you're a Pokemon fan? And that's a good question to ask Pokemon fans who are upset over this Pokemon game because it doesn't play like all the other Pokemon games they played. Hey, if they want to be unhappy rather than happy over this Pokemon game, that's their choice. And I saw Nintendo try to indirectly address this with the Check IVs and Choose a Pokemon's Nature feature, since those features cater to core Pokemon fans. In the recent Treehouse Live gameplay of Pokemon Let's Go, they showed gameplay of going through Mount Moon, using some fortune teller to influence the nature of Pokemon you'll encounter for a day or something like that, unique moves for Pikachu and Eevee, where Eevee has a fire move called Sizzly Slide and absolutely destroyed Oddish with it, because it's a fire move. They showed off the Celadon department store, and they bought accessories for her character and Eevee. One more week, then I'll be playing a ton of Pokemon instead of Destiny 2. Another game they showcased was Yoshi's Crafted World, which looks like a really cute and adorable game. What I couldn't get over was how Yoshis could ride on other Yoshis. It was just so meta, and my mind was blown watching a Yoshi ride on top of another Yoshi. Let's talk about some Destiny 2 for a second. So, I completed the last Wish raid 10 times already, and on Raid Report it shows that I'm in the top 30% of players for raids, I guess at least on Xbox One. I had 5 keys and opened 5 chests after others opened up a few chests. And I got a Masterwork Chattering Bow and Pulse Rifle, which is pretty good. And I got an exotic, not the 1,000 Voices I wanted, but Black Talon. It's a fun sword to use and is pretty powerful with how it sends an energy projectile out with a swing, but now I'm collecting up to 5 keys again to get 1000 voices. I've been in raid groups with someone who said he got it on his first chest, and another raid group who said they helped a newbie through it and he got it on his first chest. I've opened up, I think, 7 chests so far at least and didn't get it yet, and 5 of those were in a row after others opened their chest. I'm a little bit upset, hoping for some RNG good luck on this next round. Also, I have been grinding for the 𝑵𝒊𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒆 pulse rifle. I've honestly played so much Crucible, I'm not going to want to play any more Crucible after this. I had to get 200 kills with the pulse rifle, reach Valor rank heroic, which I already did beforehand, earn 75 double plays, defeat opponents with 150 precision final blows with the pulse rifle, defeat 50 opponents with arc, solar, and void final blows, complete 25 Crucible matches in quick play, competitive, and rumble each, complete 20 Crucible bounties, and the last step I'm on is resetting your Valor rank 5 times within a single season. I already reset it once, so I have 4 more to go. Here's hoping for a double XP weekend before the season ends at the end of November. Looking back, I cannot believe I did all those steps. It was so much Crucible. I will say the most annoying steps were earning 75 double plays, because you have to force yourself in situations to get those double plays and really strive for them. 150 precision final blows was also a bit annoying. Completing the 25 matches each was really annoying because there's no way to get those done quickly besides completing these matches, which can take days. So now, I just gotta win a lot of matches or lose a ton of freaking matches. I hope this gun is worth it. I know it's really good in PvE. I think the general consensus I've heard is that it's only really good in Crucible when its special perks are active, but when they're not active, it's a good or okay weapon compared to other pulse rifles. I used Vigilance Wing in combination with the One-Eyed Mask, and Vigilance Wing is a very good pulse rifle. I've even been kicking butt with it in Rumble. I played so much Crucible that I noticed plenty of trends or common weapons or gear players are using. Plenty of people who get lots of kills or have high efficiency are using pulse rifles with Kill Clip and Outlaw, or Outlaw and Rampage. Players are using the Luna hand cannon, of course. I tried using hand cannons in competitive, and they're just not for me. I don't like them for whatever reason. They just don't fit my playstyle. Of course, you have to have a good shotgun as your secondary, or a fusion rifle, I guess, because people love running around and jumping and sliding around with shotguns. I also got the 𝑼𝒍𝒕𝒊𝒎𝒂𝒕𝒆 furry arms, so I've been starting with my One-Eyed Mask, then when my Titan has his super, I use the Void class at the bottom so I get the extra shield throw. I hide real quick and switch my exotics and put on the 𝒍𝒕𝒊𝒎𝒂𝒕𝒆 arms. And I make sure I use my shield during my super while they're shooting and just destroy them with shield bashes or shield throws. And if they shoot me even just a couple times, which they basically always do, I have most of my super back. And there's plenty of times I have my full super and can use it again immediately. It's amazing. Then when I'm done with my super, I switch back to the One-Eyed Mask. It's great and works well. I have been using Vigilance Wing in my primary, a ridiculously good pulse rifle. And I also use the Heaven's Vigil Ornament. It's one of the best looking ornaments in the game. I used the 𝐼𝒍𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒆 shotgun in my secondary, rocket launcher with cluster bombs for my heavy, and as a Titan, I've been using the Void bottom tree. When you use your Void super, you have to be close to enemies because when they see you coming, they'll shoot you a bit, but typically they will try to run. And that's when you use your shield throw and take out those cowards. That Void Warlock super has been the most OP super I've seen. Unless you have your entire team shooting them, just run, honestly. Because they can also teleport and regain their health, and it just makes them more OP. I just unlocked that Void subclass on my Warlock today, and it's definitely a really fun super to use. But yeah, it's a pulse rifle meta in Season 4 of Forsaken, so pulse rifles are great, especially god rolls. Can't wait to see how 𝑵𝒊𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒆 does. I know in Gambit that gun is a beast, because it just mows enemies away once its perks proc. The Festival of the Lost in the Haunted Forest was really fun. I hope Bungie brings that back in some other form. It made good use of the Infinite Forest. I got the Horror Story auto rifle, which is actually a really good auto rifle, but not as good as a curated god roll Aged-Old Bond from the raid. I had to use my Bright Dust to buy the Cat Ghost and the Colonel Chicken Mask since RNG did not bless me through tons and tons of engrams. I have my second character, my Warlock, at 592. I had my Titan at 600 for at least a good few weeks now. Might make a third character. I'm just really doing Crucible for 𝑵𝒊𝒂𝒔 and the last Wish raid for 1000 voices. After that, I'm sure Black Armory will be out by then. Also doing the Thunderlord quest, just waiting on the week 3. A data miner discovered through one of Amanda's voiceover lines that we should be going back to an original Destiny 1 location where you first spawn and are revived by your ghost, so that'll be exciting. They buffed the Wishender bow, and now the bow actually feels like a good bow to use. It was so underwhelming before compared to previous bows, but now it actually damages and kills enemies like it should now. I completed that dungeon, and when I first got it, I was like, I went through all that for a bow that's the same or worse in some cases as the other legendary bows? Take it out and use it and see how much better it is now. I've been playing a little bit of Dragon Ball Legends. When I saw Gogeta, I vowed to keep playing until I got Gogeta. I had 2,000 crystals that I eventually saved up, and didn't get him from any of the summons. I also had plenty of summons before that. I caved in and bought $10 or whatever it was worth of gems, and I actually got him from that consecutive summon. So, a $10 well spent, I guess. Some people are lucky and get him on the first discount summon, and some said they had to pay $70. Yes, you heard that right. I saw a Facebook post that someone paid $70 to try and get Gogeta. That's how RNG works in most games, even games like Destiny. Sometimes a casual player or someone who's never done the activity more than once will get the item or character on the first try. And maybe it takes a hardcore player who's done the activity lots of times way too long to get the loots. Pray to RNGs. Gogeta is a very good character. He restores 20% of health when you use his main ability, and he draws his ultimate arts card. He does more damage each time he uses a strike or blast card, 10% own blast or strike arts damage for 10 timer counts upon landing a blast or strike art hit. His other unique ability is I'll Avenge You, doing 20% more damage for each downed ally. And when both allies on your team are down, he starts doing a wicked amount of damage. I mean, you start obliterating the opponent's health bar if he's the last one on your team. So if you have one character you want to be the last one alive, it's Super Gogeta. Speaking of mobile games, Activision announced Diablo Immortal, which players did not welcome with open arms and unlocked phones. Instead, I think the video has been disliked at least over 500,000 times already. And during the Q&A session, someone asked if it's an out-of-season April Fool's joke, and someone also asked if it's only for mobile platforms, to which the developer responded, "Do you not have phones?" Clearly the reactions were not expected, and the speakers stumbled a little bit in surprise and shock. Speakers need to be prepared for the unexpected and know how to react, which isn't always easy to do. Basically, players are upset there's nothing yet on a Diablo 4 and nothing new with Diablo on PC or console besides the remaster for Switch. And I think one player made a claim that the game is outsourced and a reskin of another mobile game, and players are worried that there's going to be a ton of monetization, because it's probably going to be a freemium game, which is all fair. If Blizzard said or showed something about Diablo 4, I'm sure the reaction wouldn't have been as bad as it was. And this does lead into a good discussion or conversation with anger in video games, or how players feel and react to certain video games. With Pokemon Let's Go, for instance, a lot of players were upset that it didn't behave like a traditional Pokemon game. I know I was upset at first and thought the no battling wild Pokemon mechanic was stupid, but I learned to look past it and admire how great this game is going to be. Players basically thought, this isn't like other Pokemon games, or it's different from how I was raised and brought up with Pokemon games, so I don't like it. Imagine Pokemon games starting off with a new catching mechanic in Pokemon Let's Go, and then the new Pokemon Let's Go game has and introduces the battling wild Pokemon mechanic. I think there would be a similar backlash there because of the change. Similarly, with Diablo Immortal, players thought, I thought you knew me, Blizzard. I want a Diablo 4 game, not this mobile game. I think what players or developers should understand, so this doesn't become a common theme, is this. So when players' expectations or standards or what they think the game should be like is out of balance with what developers put out there for their new game, developers risk players being angry or getting a different response than they thought they would get. With video games, I don't know if entitled is the right word to use here, but developers make a game for an audience, and after being brought up with those games for so long, that audience expects a certain kind of game or certain kind of DLC or content. And if they get something they don't expect, like less or worse content, for that we can use Destiny 1 or 2 as an example where the content was either lacking or just repetitive and bad and not rewarding, players understandably are going to be upset. So developers or people who make games need to almost see gamers as stockholders. Of course, they're stakeholders, but seeing them as stockholders might help them see the point. So gamers buying one game is like them buying one stock almost. Another example we could use is if the new Smash Bros. Was just a port instead of this amazing game full of value. If it was a port, gamers might have been about it, or been like, what's with all the ports, Nintendo? Where's all the new games or versions of these games? Nintendo fans would be upset because of all the repetitive ports, but Nintendo has been doing a good job including more content with those ports. And to be fair, lots of players did not own a Wii U, myself included, so these ports are actually brand new games to a lot of people. If instead of making Destiny 3, they made Destiny for mobile instead, not sure how that would work, players would be like, where's all the new Destiny 2 content or the new Destiny game for consoles and PC? Players would be upset. To be honest, I'm not looking forward to Destiny 3 because I worked so hard for all these guns and stuff and don't really want to do it all over again. So in that case, I'm like, can you just keep making more content for Destiny 2, Bungie? And if the next DLC for Destiny 2 repeats Destiny 2's Osiris and Warmind DLC, its game base is going to be mad. Because players gave Activision and Bungie so much money for the base game, DLCs, and in-game items, and its players invested a lot into this series. So developers have to balance all their audiences and how these players feel about their video games, its content, its mechanics, what they expect from future content in games, etc. While these gaming companies need to understand their audiences, in the end, they are the boss and make the decisions about their games. Usually they do a good job or do the best they can. Like with Smash Bros. Ultimate or Zelda Breath of the Wild, when you pack that kind of value and content into a $60 game when they don't actually have to, that's amazing, and players notice that. And players notice when parts of the game is bad, like animations, like the double kick animation in Pokemon Let's Go is just the Pokemon hopping twice. While some of the animations in the game aren't deal breakers to me by any means, I agree they could have done better or could have just done full-fledged animations. In the next Pokemon game, they have to put more work into the animations for the moves. It will require more work on the developer's part, but Pokemon needs some better animations for a lot of the moves for the games. So, I predict that more than ever, game developers will need to be more sensitive to their audience, because lately with a lot of games, players had a lot of power or backlash or say in these games or decisions that companies made. And if there was enough of a response, gamers were able to change the company's decisions. There aren't many industries where audience, product, and product developer are so closely linked together. So, it's a conversation with a lot of semantics, like explaining microtransactions in games or in games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, or discussing why Activision didn't expect the reaction it received from its audience when they announced Diablo Immortal. After mentioning and talking about all this, I realized, yeah, there are a lot of subtle semantics that go with gaming. It's crazy, but that's how it is in gaming. I mean, gaming is technically exploiting human psychology for profit, and when you see it that way, it's fair for gamers to have their say and do the same thing back to the game developers and change the video game they make or change how they make the next game. Well, I already talked a whole bunch more than I expected this episode, and we had some good talks and discussion. By the time the next episode is out, I will have played Pokemon Let's Go, and I'm excited for that game to come out. If you're interested, I'll be streaming and making videos of Pokemon Let's Go on our YouTube channel, 𝒎𝒂𝒔 Games Gamers Reality, and probably posting articles about it on 𝑔amersReality.com. So if you're interested, feel free to come join or check them out. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Whatever platform you're using to listen to the podcast, feel free to subscribe and write a review. It really is a big help for everyone involved. You can check out any show notes on our website, 𝑔amersReality.com. Feel free to sign up for the free newsletter there, and you'll receive free stuff from me and be the first to know when I upload a podcast. You can also check out the podcast YouTube channel, 𝒎𝒂𝒔 Games Gamers Reality, where I stream games, make game reviews, have game thesis episodes, video game motivation episodes, and much more. It's 𝒎𝒂𝒔 Games just for Twitch and Mixer, and also for my Facebook page and Xbox gaming tag. You can follow me on Twitter at 𝑘evinSkrima. And last, if you're enjoying all the content I'm putting out there for the YouTube channel, blog, podcast, and whatnot, please consider becoming a supporter by becoming a patron at patreon.com/gamersreality. Donating just $1 a month will help cover the costs of keeping things up and running. Doing all of this certainly costs money, such as for hosting platforms, but I have a lot of fun and enjoy giving content to you guys. Simply put, your donations will allow me to make even more content for you guys. Thank you so much for being here with me and listening, and I'll see you next time. Peace.